Okay, we're good. Good evening. This is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting for the City of Hendersonville. It's December 13th, approximately 7 p.m. We're going to begin our meeting as we typically do. That's with a prayer and with a pledge. Tonight, leading us in prayer is Ben Baxley. He is the Associate Pastor for Adults at First Baptist Church, Hendersonville. Ben, we appreciate so much what you and your church has done for Hendersonville for 70-something years. It might be more than that. Especially in the past couple weeks, you've had a lot of events out there that have drawn an awful lot of the community out there, and it's been wonderful what you've done. And of course, not just the past couple weeks, but the service you provide to the whole community.
So we're grateful to serve Hendersonville. We'd love to be a part. So would you join with me as we pray? Lord, I thank you so much for this chance to come before you. And we ask and pray for your blessing on our community. Lord, we thank you for how you've blessed us. I thank you for our leaders, and I pray for your blessing on them, for you to encourage them, give them strength and wisdom and insight. I pray that you direct their steps, Lord. And as we come to do some business, we also want to ask for your help for the family of Judge Lincoln, as well as our two Hendersonville police officers who are struggling with significant health issues. And we ask that you would be with their families, encourage their hearts, and strengthen them. Please guide this time. And we say that we love you, and it's in Jesus' name we ask these things. Amen.
So again, that was the Associate Pastor for Adults. That's Ben Bexley for the First Baptist Church in Hendersonville. Ben, thank you so much, and thank you for what your church does for us. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. I'm going to entertain a motion that we accept the agenda that was provided to you all over the weekend. We have a motion from Alderman Waters and a second from Alderman Martin. I do need you all to acknowledge one thing, is that our resolution 2022-48, we're waiving the 2-week rule on that. We just had that at committee tonight, and obviously that has not been 2 weeks since it went to committee. So I just want to point that out. However, my feeling is by accepting the agenda, we don't need to we don't need a motion to accept that one item. By accepting the agenda, we've approved that item. Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor of approving the agenda as it was provided to you, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're on to presentations, and we get to have a wonderful presentation as we did a couple weeks ago, and that's from Kathy Pascal, who is the chairman of beautiful Hendersonville. Kathy, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. It's good to be here tonight, and really excited to get to present some great awards. But first of all, I want to recognize and show some appreciation for another club in the community that recognized a need and stepped up and met that need by organizing a trash pickup. And that is for the Beach Environmental Club. And I'd like to introduce some of the folks for it with the club right now. And if you don't mind, just come on up here. We've got the co-president, Megan, we're good. It's Megan. That's right. In fact, Megan, if you would just come on over, I will give you your certificate now. Thank you so much for what you've done, and it really contributes so much to our city, and it makes it a more beautiful Hendersonville. So here's your certificate of appreciation, and I thank you so much. That's Megan Linford, right? That's right. And she is the co-president along with Hannah Madrigal. And if you'll just stand up here, I appreciate that. And then Vincent Giovanelli is the events coordinator. Yeah. And then Miss Stephanie Stevens is the sponsor or the club advisor. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And we'll take a quick picture there. They had over 80 participants at the cleanup, so we really do appreciate that and look forward to working with you again, okay? Thank you guys so much. All right. And I think, first of all, Mr. Andy Gilley, did you want to speak? Okay. He would like to speak, and then I'll come back with those fun awards.
I don't always like to speak. Thank you, Mrs. Pascal. Real quick, beautiful Hendersonville has helped us this year in the Parks Department by providing judges and awards for the best Christmas light displays that you're going to hear the winners of in just a second. With our Ultimate Party Festival of Lights that was started 3 or 4 years ago with the help of Holiday Fest and our special events supervisor, we've kind of grown that into, from when I started as Parks Director, we had 357 lights on the city Christmas tree. And now we have all that you see at Memorial Park, which is probably about 30,000 lights. But it's been a great thing. I think last year 10,000 cars, they helped us with the police, with the LPR cameras we were able to read. 10,000 tags drove through Memorial Park from the time those lights were turned on until they were taken down. So that was a good thing. And then we've expanded with the help of a couple of great citizens in the community to post a map to give people opportunity to drive all over town to see the best lights in town. We've had some great sponsors, Hendersonville Civitan, the Ace Hardware, Ultimate Party, Holiday Fest, all have given back money to help with those displays, and also donate to Mary's Magical Place, which kind of was the original intent of the Festival of Lights to begin with. But just wanted to thank them for that and explain what's going on. So we publish a map of the best light displays in town. We miss some sometimes. We keep adding throughout. If you go to our parks website and Facebook page, you can find the map that is updated constantly. And I encourage you to take a night out and take a ride around town for some good free entertainment to see some great lights. And Miss Kathy's going to come back and award some of these people that have went above and beyond. If you see their houses and their businesses and displays, you would be, there's no way you couldn't be in the Christmas spirit. So thank you all, board, for continuing to support the events that we put on like this one for the community. It really is a good way to brighten up everybody's spirit. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gilly. It has been a lot of fun working with the Parks Department, and it was great fun getting to go out and view all of the displays all over the city, and then judging them and picking winners was really pretty difficult because there's some great displays. So if you get an opportunity, please go out and look and enjoy it. So we had the challenge of coming up with the different categories, and we came up with 5 categories. So, we may add some or change some as time goes on, but for this year, our very first, well, it was the reason for the season, and the entry that won was First Baptist Church. So, Mr. Ben, if you would come back up. Ben Boxley here, and here's that, and your prize from us. Thank you so much. What a beautiful display it is over there, and we just thank you for doing that and sharing it with the community. So thank you so much. Then another category that we had is called Neighborhood Harmony, and this is for the neighborhood that really came together and has the most number of homes that are decorated with lights. So the one that we selected this year is Durham Farms. And so if you would please come on up here. We've got a couple of the folks from here, Miss Connie Nadell. And I'm just going to give you this like that. How is that? And then this as well. There we go. And Amy Raines. And we have the lifestyle director and Lacey with
Freehold. I'm representing Freehold.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, and Amy, what is your position? The community manager. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. It's great. You always, Halloween was fantastic, and Christmas is great. And they said they're just getting started, really. They have their own competition out there. So please get out to Durham Farms and enjoy all the lights. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Val. Then our next category was a traditional category, and there are a lot of really beautiful traditional lights and displays out there, but this one just kind of knocked our socks off over on Hillwood, and this is Miss Linda Bornt, and this is for the traditional award, and she has just done a beautiful job. Thank you so much. Lots of lights. Thank you. And then the lights on Luna, the folks are not with us tonight, but that is for Mike and Sandra Grogg. And then, for the best overall, we have a terrific display that is so wonderful. And if you go by at the right time, I think Mr. and Miss Santa Claus are out there, right? And hot chocolate, all kinds of great things. And this is for Mr. Willie and Becky Cheatham, and they're on Haven Street. Thank you. Appreciate it so much. They have done a beautiful job there, and they have worked for years on the display, just adding more and more each year. And so we just thank you all. Thank you for helping make our city a more beautiful Hendersonville. Thank you. Uh-huh. I'm sorry. Oh, the address for Haven? 124. 124, okay. It's a little bitty short street, you kind of, but it's Haven? Haven, right, yes, sir, okay.
So it's 124 Haven Street.
There we go, thank you. 124 Haven Street is the best overall. Friday night, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
All right.
Appreciate it. You got them all, Robert?
Uh-huh.
We're good. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Oldham, could you join me? So we have 3 proclamations left on the agenda, and 2 of the folks couldn't be here, and that was Mary Jane Campbell and Mike Fussell. Fortunately, Prentice Oldham could be here. Prentice served on the beer board for a long, long time. I tell people many times that the beer board isn't near as fun as it sounds, and Russ Edwards would very much agree with me, having been on the beer board a couple times and served as liaison. But let me read this if y'all would allow. Whereas the Hendersonville Beer Board was established in 1994 to regulate the selling, storing for sale, distribution for sale, and manufacturing of beer within the city, and whereas Prentice Oldham served on the Hendersonville Beer Board from 1998 until 2022. During part of this time, he also served as chairman of the board. I, Jamie Clary, mayor of the city of Hendersonville, by the authority vested in me as mayor, and on behalf of the entire board of mayor and aldermen, do formally proclaim our gratitude and appreciation, and I urge all citizens of Hendersonville to join us in honoring Prentice Oldham for his dedicated services to all the residents of the community. To serve for that long on a committee that is that important to the city, we very much appreciate what you've done. We have no public hearings. We have 2 sets of minutes that we need to approve. The first, I'll entertain a motion to approve the November 29th, 2022 meeting minutes. We have a motion from Alderman Waters and a second from Alderman Dixon. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as they were provided to you in your packet, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Now we're on to the approval of the December 1st, 2022 meeting minutes. We have a motion from Alderman Peterson, and a second from Alderman Waters. I believe I have that correct. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes that were provided to you for the December 1st meeting, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. We have an abstention from Alderman Dixon. Appreciate that. Thank you. Next, we have citizen comments. We have nobody signed up for citizen comments. We don't have a consent agenda. We're on to ordinances and resolutions. We have Resolution 2022-48. This is a resolution to accept a donation from a city resident for public safety and parks. I so move. And we have a second. Was that Alderman Waters or Alderman Robertson? Alderman Waters. First, I also have to entertain a motion to make. Let's go to Alderman Edwards.
I was going to let you
Okay.
discuss it first, and I was going to.
Okay.
I was just going to say that this did just pass unanimously through the Public Safety Committee.
Okay,
To let
super.
everybody know.
And I explained to the Public Safety Committee sort of what brought this about. Last week, I received a phone call from a person here in Hendersonville whose family wanted to donate $25,000 to the city. Specifically, he asked if they could donate it for parks and public works. I thought that was a wonderfully generous a gesture, and I said absolutely. The problem is that I can accept gifts for the cities. I can't accept liabilities. Only the board can accept liabilities. So If it were just a check with no strings attached, I can take it and that'd be great. And then later on we figure out what to use it for. But since he wanted it used for parks and public safety, I've got to come here. And technically it really needs to be an ordinance before we decide what to use it for. But since we only had one meeting before the end of the year and he wanted to make that donation before the end of the year, what we thought made the most sense was to put it in resolution form and direct our COO to draw up an ordinance that includes the use for public safety and for parks. Over the weekend, we had a fundraiser for 2 police officers. And it got me thinking about the use of that money for public safety. And so I went back to this person and I asked him how he would feel about the public safety portion of that going straight to those police officers instead of going through the city. And he thought that was a good idea. And the best way to do that I could figure out was for his donation for public safety, since it was going to go to those police officers, was that he donate that money to the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. They were the ones that organized the fundraising effort this past weekend with several volunteers and some police officers. So it made sense that he write that check to them. So what he did yesterday was he brought in a $25,000 check for the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association. I took that to John Isbell, who is the president of that, and then he also gave us another $25,000 check for parks. Yeah. And the donor has asked to not be identified, but we appreciate him and his family very, very much. And when we come up with a use for that money, we'll go back and ask for his thoughts about that. So, and by the way, this person has also said that he would like to do this for the next several years. So incredibly generous, and we're very grateful to that. Having given you that explanation, though, I need to ask you all to amend this so to take out the public safety portion. We've done that with his check to the Citizens Police Academy, or he did that by donating directly to them. And so if you see there in the first whereas on page 12, what we would need to do is remove the words public safety and, of course, that leaves in for the parks.
Also move.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Edwards. We have a motion from Alderman Edwards and a second from Alderman Waters on that. What we're doing again is where you see the first whereas, we're removing the words public safety and. So this $25,000 that he wrote us a check for yesterday will go to parks, and we're asking our COO when he gets to the mid-year budget amendment to propose that money be used in that manner. So any other discussion on that amendment? Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passed unanimously. Alderman Waters, now we're on the main motion.
Now, I just want to know if you had a total amount for our 2 officers.
So, Craig, you're probably the best one. Do you know the answer to that question? So I had heard $5,500 is what they raised over the weekend. So this takes that to $30,500. So, and I should mention that our officers' insurance needs are taken care of. However, that doesn't cover everything that they're going to need for the next several months. There's going to be transportation costs. There's possibly home modifications, taking time off work, and this will help with that. So, and I appreciate Channel 2. I appreciate our police officers, and I appreciate the Citizen Police Academy and Kroger helping to put that together. Any other discussion on the main motion? Alderman Sittler.
You said we needed to ratify this because of liability. What kind of liability are we looking at?
That we are designating it for the parks. That's a liability.
That's it?
Yeah.
That you foresee? All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 2022-48 as amended, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you all. Thank you all for that long-winded explanation of what was going on. Let me get back to our agenda. Next, we're on to other agenda items. And item number 2 is the appointment of city judge. I'm going to entertain a motion to nominate Russ Edwards to be the city judge starting January 1st, 2023, and concluding with the end of the term that Curtis Lincoln was elected to. That will be March 2024. We have a motion from Alderman Robertson and a second from Alderman Waters. Alderman Robertson.
Thank you, Mayor. First,
I'm sorry, I screwed that up. We have a nomination from Alderman Robertson, which does not require a second. Sorry. Okay.
First, I want to acknowledge again the late city judge Curtis Lincoln for his many years of faithful service to the city. I know I speak for the entire board that our prayers go to his family in their time of grief. After reviewing carefully all of the applications for the Hendersonville City Judge vacancy, I have made a decision. First, I want to thank all that applied. We have many qualified candidates, and I want to express my appreciation for all that have applied. Filling this position tonight is timely because of its importance to the judicial functions of our city. Delaying the appointment tonight, I believe, when qualified candidates exist, will not serve, in my opinion, the cause of justice in our city. So I appreciate the mayor and staff's thorough and diligent work to get this matter ready for the board tonight. I believe this process has been transparent, open, and fair, and I'm ready to act tonight. In making my decision, I evaluated the candidate's judicial experience, record of sound judgment, even-handed fairness, and measured temperament. One candidate clearly exceeded my expectations in each of these categories. Therefore, I wholly support the appointment of Alderman Russ Edwards for this important position of city judge. And while I will miss his wisdom and common sense voice as an alderman, I know the citizens of Hendersonville will reap benefits from his valuable service as our next city judge, and I encourage all my aldermen to support this timely appointment. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. I should mention that Alderman Russ Edwards has expressed interest in serving. Do we have any other nominations? Alderman Peterson.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also like to add nominee Patrick Parker to the list.
We appreciate that. Alderman Peterson has nominated Patrick Parker, who has also expressed interest in serving. Do we have any other nominations? Alderman Skidmore.
Yes, sir. I don't have a nomination, but I know that Mr. Parker is here this evening, and I would behoove this board to not have to at least have the opportunity for him to introduce himself to us.
Okay.
I don't know how you want to handle that.
3 minutes, 5 minutes? What do you want to do?
Well, gosh, I've known Mr. Parker for a long time and his family, and I don't think, 5 minutes, 3 minutes? What do you need? 3 minutes will be fine.
So it'd probably be appropriate to give both of the people who have been nominated 3 minutes, and I'm going to ask them to speak from the podium up there.
Thank you.
Okay.
3 minutes is good.
Without objection, we'll suspend the rules to do that.
Okay.
No objections? Okay. Patrick, you want to go first since you were saying, Russ, if you want to take the time, feel free. Go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you, Mayor, Alderman, for your time this evening. Yes, my name is Patrick Parker, and I've expressed interest in the city judge position. I think my resume and packet are before you. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Hendersonville, having grown up here, and as I was reviewing or preparing for the possibility to speak this evening, I was kind of reflecting on the history of my involvement from the city of Hendersonville and how it touched on each one of the wards that are represented here. My family moved here in 1972 with me, and back into Ward 4 is where I grew up. My mom taught elementary education at Lakeside Park Elementary initially in Ward 1. And that's where I completed elementary school in that district. After going to school and then attending law school away, we moved back and ultimately settled in Ward 3 and raised our family there in Ward 3 as well. My wife teaches kindergarten. She's a kindergarten teacher at Jack Anderson Elementary and has been for over 20 years, and putting us in Ward 5. District, and then eventually after Ward 2, Ward 2, and growing up as well too in that ward and many activities there. Ultimately, my practice has now been moved to Ward 6, and my practice, myself and another attorney, have our practice there. So, been a lifelong resident and appreciate the board's consideration. I too feel that I have the qualities of temperament, as expressed by Alderman Roberson, to be able to fulfill the candidate of city judge. Judge Lincoln was a personal friend to all of us. I attended church with Judge Lincoln. He taught my parents' Sunday school class, and I remember many events fondly with him. I think he's a great example of what our city judge should continue to be. And as anyone who came before him gave the right to speak, be heard, express their opinion, and then adjudicate fairly based upon the ordinances passed by this board. I want to continue that same service, and I appreciate y'all's consideration this evening. Thank you.
Patrick, thank you.
I'll, I guess, spare the introductions, but I hope all of you know me. But I'm really humbled by Alderman Robertson's faith in me and his kind comments, and I thank the mayor for his nomination of me. This being judge is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I obviously ran for Sumner County General Sessions judge. I came in second in the Republican Party election this year, and I came in second in the appointment of the next General Sessions judge. So always the bridesmaid, you know. So. But this opportunity has, fortunately or unfortunately, come open. It's unfortunate because of the passing of Curtis Lincoln, who was a pillar in this community, a great person, and somebody who will be hard to follow, hard to replace. So this opportunity came open, so I thought I would apply for this, and I appreciate your consideration. And I can promise that I would do a good job every day as judge. I promise that I would be fair. You know, being judge is different than being alderman, because as alderman, you're always looking what's in the best interest of the city. As judge, you would look at what's in the best interest of the city and balance that with the fairness and people's rights, or anybody that's accused of a crime or violating any kind of ordinance that comes before the court. You have to weigh that with what's in the best interest of the city. And I can promise you that I would be fair. I would be aware of people's rights and uphold people's rights, along with doing what is in the best interest of the city and protecting our great citizens. And somebody wiser than me once said that the judicial branch is the least dangerous branch of all. That's probably true. This being an alderman, I have truly enjoyed, and if I am fortunate enough to win your support and be appointed, I would have to change gears and serve in a completely different capacity. Being an alderman has been interesting. I have loved it. I haven't always liked it. You know, there is a big difference. It's been difficult, but it's the labor of love. I've loved doing it, and I would just really appreciate your support. Thank you for your time.
Russ, thank you. Any other nominations? Alderman Skidmore, anything else?
No, sir.
Appreciate that. Nominations are closed. I'm sorry, Alderman Collins.
I just have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
When would this term end?
So it will end at the time that Judge Lincoln's term would end, at approximately March of 2020,
Okay.
25.
March of 25. And I had
Yeah, it is
a
25. I got that wrong.
constituent ask me if I'm not.
I said that incorrectly earlier. I said 24 earlier. It is 2000. It'd be March of 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, I thought I just remembered it wrong. So,
Okay.
Which is pretty likely. Mr. Ray, I have a question that came from a constituent, which I'm probably not even going to word correctly. Okay. But there was a concern that if Russ has a contract with the city as an employee, kind of, then, and he's also in a position to supervise him, does that violate state law concerning conflict of interest?
Well, I would assume that if Mr. Edwards is the appointed city judge, that he would resign his seat as alderman. And if that's the case,
I'll have you speak from down there. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
That's
ahead. Okay.
so, yeah, he would. I would leave that up to the individual first before making an opinion about that, but I think it's safe to say that that would be a conflict of interest.
Russ, do you want to speak on that? Here, hold on one second. There you go.
I will resign as alderman if elected as judge. That would be a clear conflict.
And as a follow-up, I assume that Mr. or Alderman Edwards would abstain from any vote on this
Oh.
position.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in speaking with Mr. Ray, I think that would be the best approach, to abstain. I think it would look better.
Alderman Collins, anything else?
It makes it kind of heart-wrenching to vote because we don't want to lose Russ as an alderman. It makes it difficult to make a vote without it being overly emotional. I do want to say though, aside from that I have heard in the past couple of weeks so many positive things about Judge Lincoln that I want to just briefly say that one of the themes that I have heard is that when young adults or kids would come before him for traffic violations, parents really appreciated the way that he dealt with that and felt like he was really assisting them in parenting almost because he was pretty tough on them, and it obviously came from a place of caring. And so I hope that whomever is selected to be our next judge would keep that in mind when dealing with young adults and children that come before them for traffic violations, that they can really assist families in keeping their kids on the straight and narrow when they're behind the wheel of a vehicle. So I just wanted to pass that along to whomever is elected. That's all I have.
Alderman Collins, thank you. Alderman Waters.
I know you want to vote on this, Mayor, but since my colleague brought up Judge Lincoln, I had the occasion on many mornings, Tuesday mornings, to go up and listen to him and watch him. He had one rule, and I can see them all up and down this board here. If it goes off, it's mine. If that phone goes off in this court, it belongs to me. And so help me, I've seen him direct an officer to go pick that up. I just want to share that with the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Waters. Any other discussion? Since it is election, I'm going to ask Annette to call your name, and then you need to vote for one of the folks. And our two nominees are Edwards and Parker.
Collins.
Parker.
Dixon. Edwards. Edwards is
Abstain.
Garten.
Edwards.
Garza.
Edwards.
Goodwin.
Edwards.
Martin.
Edwards.
Peterson.
Parker.
Robertson.
Edwards.
Sittler.
Edwards.
Skidmore.
Edward.
Waters.
Edwards.
And Cole.
Edwards. We have 10 for Edwards, we have 2 for Parker, and 1 abstention. That's the majority of the votes, so Alderman Edwards will be our
Jana, your mic is on.
Now puts it, Alderman Waters.
Jamie.
Can I ask some questions right quick?
Let me say that again. So we had 10 votes for Edwards, we had 2 for Parker, we had 1 abstention, and that carries the majority of the people voting. So Alderman Edwards will be our judge. Alderman Waters, go ahead.
Just got a couple of questions, Mayor. I think we all know that Judge Edwards at one time had his name in the pot at Sumner County Director, Legal Director. Have you withdrawn your name?
Hold on here. Here we go.
I withdrew my name on last Friday is for the county law director. Yes, sir.
Good, good.
So Alderman Waters, you bring up something that I now need to ask you all to help me with.
Okay. That's all I got.
Okay. So it's sort of on that. I'm going to ask you all to amend the agenda. And that takes a 2/3 vote, and this is why. He has just said that he's going to resign. If we wait to start the process to fill his seat at our next meeting, we've given up we've given up a lot of time. We've given up 4 weeks. And so the reason I'm going to ask you all to amend the agenda is to consider a motion that I'd like to make, and I'm going to pass these out. I think that's enough that direction. And I think that's enough that agenda. So if you want to take a second to look at that motion, the first thing that I would need is a motion to amend our agenda, which again, it requires two-thirds vote, since we have already approved the agenda. But I'll be quiet for just a second. I'll need sure, if you want to make a motion to amend the agenda, consider this motion.
Make a motion to amend the motion.
Okay. So we have a motion to amend our agenda to consider this motion at this time. I need a second. Second from Alderman Garten. Okay. I am going to let y'all take a look at this for a second, and we can have some discussion and then vote on this. I can tell y'all already have questions. Okay, so let's go have some discussion on adding this to the agenda. And again, we need a two-thirds vote to do that. Anybody have any discussion about adding this to the agenda and considering it at this point? Alderman Garten, did you? Okay, I think I left your microphone on from before. Sorry about that. Alderman Waters, about adding this to the agenda, anything? Okay. Alderman Peterson?
May we make a discussion, or do we want to vote on the amendment first?
I'm going to ask you to vote on this if you agree to add it to the agenda.
Okay,
So really all we're talking now is about the agenda. We're not really talking about this motion.
okay, thank you.
Okay. Now I have to ask you to call the roll. So we need nine affirmative votes to add something to the agenda. So all those in favor, please say aye when Annette calls your name. Those opposed to adding this to the agenda, please say no. So Annette?
Collins,
Aye.
Dixon. Aye. Edwards. Aye. Barton.
Aye.
Garza.
Aye.
Goodwin.
Aye.
Martin.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Robertson.
Aye.
Sittler.
Aye.
Skidmore.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Claire.
Aye. Appreciate that. That passed unanimously. So now we have, now you have that motion in front of you. I'm happy to make that motion unless somebody else would like to. So I'll make the motion you have in front of you, and there's two parts to this. It's the motion to request that the mayor and staff, first part, seek applications for the board seat that will become open due to the likely resignation of Alderman Russ Edwards. The process will be similar to the process of previous board vacancies. Staff will publicize the opening and collect applications until January 3rd, 2023. From among the qualified applicants, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen will appoint a person on January 10th, 2023 to fill the seat as long as legally permitted. Here's the second part. Also to seek applications for any board seat that is vacated prior to the board's meeting on January 10th, 2023. Staff will publicize the opening and collect applications until January 17th. From among the qualified applicants, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen will appoint a person on January 24th, 2023 to fill the seat as long as legally permitted. If I can get a second, I'll explain that second portion.
Second.
We have a second from Alderman Dixon. So here's the reason I have that second portion in there. You just heard a question about county mayor, as Alderman Waters brought up. Excuse me, a little bit different, as the county law director. I don't mean to put you on the spot, Eric. However, you are the other person in the running. If Eric gets that, we anticipate that Eric will resign. Again, I don't want to wait until the end of January to start that process. Eric, if you object to this part being in there, feel free to speak up and we can look at taking that out. What I want to avoid is us being delayed by 4 weeks. And so the event that Eric is awarded that position and has to resign, I'm just asking y'all to allow me to start the process. So Eric, do you want to speak on that?
I'll speak briefly. I think this is very expeditious because statutorily I cannot hold this seat anymore. So anything that keeps the board moving efficiently, I'm in support of.
Appreciate that. Alderman Waters.
Ooh. So we're going to be losing two fine gentlemen, okay? Mayor, I understand how this situation works that we just read from your letter here. Just last month, we had an election and we all know the results. in Ward 3. We had two great candidates campaign in Ward 3. The voters elected a good person in Mr. Gossett. Both he and Mr. Sasser ran a great campaign. I've noticed that Mr. Sasser, he's here tonight, he even comes to our BOMA meetings just about every time we have a meeting. And I personally thank him for doing that, taking his personal time to come. So with this being said, Mr. Chairman, unless you're going to cut me down or if there's no ordinance in doing this, I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Mr. Sasser to fill the vacancy and complete the term of Ward 3 Judge Edwards. I so move.
Oh, say that again. So yes, so we have a motion pending right now. I guess you would be amending this motion.
I would. I did.
So help me to understand, and I'll ask for just a second. So what your motion would be to, for the process to be that we not take applications, but we appoint Mr. Sassy tonight.
We do have to.
I said, what your motion is saying that we don't take applications.
We don't take applications.
And we
in this
appoint Mr.
situation
Sassy
here, Mr. Chairman, this is unusual.
It is.
We've got two great guys. One of them was elected, and one ran a good campaign with him. And it behooves me to think that we're going to run an ad for applicants when we got one sitting here and one he's very familiar with our process. Mm-hmm. And that's my amendment. And I can't see, maybe I'm missing something in the ordinance, but that's my amendment.
Appreciate that. Do we have a second? I appreciate that, Mr. Waters. That fails for lack of a second. So we're going to go back to the motion that has been acted upon earlier, and we're going to go to Alderman Skidmore.
Yes, thank you. I would just say, as to my colleague in Ward 6, I would say that the charter pretty much prevents us from doing that anyway. And also, I think I have to research it again, but I think TCA says we have the steps to take to fill the vacancy. So it may rule that out of order of what you were saying. But since you didn't have a second, I'll leave that at that. The second one, I would say that I support this motion because with budget coming at the first of the year, that's why that we need to expedite this filling of the vacancy because we're dealing with taxpayers' money and for the budget for next year. And so I would urge everyone pass this, Mayor. Thank you.
Alderman Skidmore, thank you. Alderman Robertson.
Yes, and the second paragraph of your motion, that this process is similar to the process of previous board. By saying that, you're saying that we're following precedent, correct?
Yes.
And I always, I'm a firm believer, unless the precedent is wrong, that we need to follow precedent. I understand where you're coming from, Alderman Waters, but I do think that the process needs to be followed. Government a lot of times gets criticized for dilatory actions, being slow to act. But this board tonight, and even in the appointment of the city attorney, has acted with dispatch, has moved appropriately, and it's kind of refreshing to see government move expeditiously on important matters. So I support this motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. Alderman Collins.
Could we add, or can you tell us, we don't have to add the language if that's probably overkill, but when would we expect to receive copies of the applications?
As soon as I get them.
So like the 4th?
So let's
January
see.
4th, January.
What is January 3rd on? Is that a
It's a Tuesday.
So probably the 4th or the 5th.
Then the 17th would be like the 18th or 19th.
17th is on a
That's also a Tuesday.
Okay, so yeah, I'll say within 2 days. What I want to make sure is that Jason gets to look at them and make sure that they're qualified.
Their actual candidates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say within 2 days. I'll make sure to. Give it to
Okay,
you.
that sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Collins. Alderman Waters.
Well, I didn't get a second, but so I'm still going to say, will we have a meeting with one less alderman at the next meeting?
So that's likely what's going to happen. Is it at least one less?
Won't that change the diameter of our votes?
It does. When we have a tie vote to appoint an alderman, it's the only time that I get to vote twice.
Just asking. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that, Alderman Waters. Any other discussion? So all those in favor of the motion that you have in front of you, please signify by saying aye. Now. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. That passes unanimously. Thank you all. Sorry about that. Now we're on to brief committee reports. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Edwards.
Yes, this will be my last and only chairman's report.
Make it good.
So I will try to make it good, but we had a Public Safety Committee meeting tonight. And obviously we, as I told you before, we unanimously passed Resolution 2022-48. That's the donation. But we also had a discussion with the Fire and Police Department led by Mr. Eckenroth about the fleet replacement policy. And I highly encourage those interested to go and watch that because we had a good almost 45-minute discussion about that because this is something that is very important that's coming up soon is replacement of that's going to be coming before BOMA, I would imagine, replacement of the fleet of the fire as well as the police. So I would encourage you to do that. We had a good productive discussion, and with that, I'll leave it. That's all we had. Thank you.
Chairman Edwards, thank you. Let's go to Alderman Martin, Planning Commission. Hold on, Mike. There we go.
Sure. So we had a good meeting. There was one project, one site plan that was in discussion. It was submitted separately for Tailgate Brewery, and it had two components. The first component was a large painted mural on one of the sides, and the second component was plastic tents that covered up the outdoor seating area. This was an accommodation they were trying to make for their guests to enjoy during the cold weather that's coming. And they did mention that they have other exterior renovations that they wanted to make. So what we did, we went ahead and approved the outdoor canopy since it benefits the Hendersonville residents. And we requested that for the mural, that they complete the process of their exterior renovation design, package it up together and resubmit it. That way the Planning Commission can look at it and evaluate it in its entirety. So they agreed to do that, and that was the disposition of the Tailgate Brewery in Ward 1. And the planning director gave us some great information on some things coming up. The Volunteer State Bank, that's a project where they were going to have a road, an access road kind of built through or next or adjacent to their property, and they received some feedback from neighbors that they had some concerns with, and after thinking through it, they decided to withdraw that project from consideration. So that project is no longer in the works or no longer in the queue. The other comment that we received from Director Keith Freed is the Westlake District Framework Plan. They've received some community comments that they're in the process of incorporating into what they're calling the final draft. This is going to be ready in two or 3 weeks, at which point they're going to distribute it, and they're going to present it to the Planning Commission again in February, and they're going to send out mail notices to everybody who wants to kind of be involved and in that document, similar to how they did the Gene Brown Elementary School presentation. So everybody will have a chance to kind of stay informed on that project. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you serving on the planning commission.
Yeah, I'm going to work on that. My detailed notes.
Alderman Robertson is going to give us a report on the golf course commission. Y'all received an email earlier today, but Alderman Robertson can enlighten us a little bit more.
Thank you. And there is a requirement whenever the management company and the golf commission gets ready to spend a certain amount of money that this board has to be notified. Typically, it's notified through its finance committee or through its public works committee. But since we weren't able to have one and we need to move ahead on this, I ask that this be put on the agenda tonight. Just briefly, the backbone of any golf course is its irrigation system. Without a reliable irrigation system, the maintenance of the golf course is jeopardized. The existing pump for the golf course was installed in 1989, and it is showing signs of deterioration. The Golf Course Commission, which I'm liaison, and the Golf Management Group met with the Finance Committee in May of this year and explained the need to replace the irrigation pump. The Finance Committee unanimously, and I think Alderman Dixon was in that meeting, stated that this was important for the golf management company group to move forward on replacing the irrigation pump. So I come tonight to let you know that the Golf Course Commission unanimously approved to move forward on accepting bids for a irrigation pump. That pump could be anywhere from $300,000 to $325,000. I am pleased to tell you at the current time, the Country Hills Golf Course has available a cash balance of $340,000. So this would be bid next year with installation sometime near the end of next year. So this is for your information. I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding this, but this is a notice that I'm giving the board that the Golf Commission and Golf Course Management Company is moving forward with the purchase of a pump. And I'll be glad to answer any questions. If not, I've got just one other quick announcement to make, Mayor.
Alderman Robertson, are these projects going to remove any money from our general fund?
No, they will not. This is money that the golf course has raised over the last couple of years. They've had really good seasons the last couple of years and managed the course well. The expenses, play is up astronomically, as it is in most golf courses. COVID seemed to bring out people more for recreation outside instead of inside. So, no, it will not, to answer your question, it will not impact the budget.
Who is our Golf Course Commission chairman?
Chris Maynard from Ward 5.
Would you say he's done a fabulous job?
I played with Chris today, and he had an eagle on hole 5. So, yeah, Chris is a great chairman. I also want to thank the Parks Department for their help in working with the golf course. It's a great asset, not only for Ward 5, but for the entire city. And our citizens use regularly that golf course.
Thank you for your report. You said you had something else?
I do. With so many new aldermen, I have decided that we need to move forward with a capital projects meeting. As you know, capital projects is a committee made up of the standing committee chairs. And for us to get an update and for those new aldermen to be there to hear updates on projects that may be in their wards, for example, like Exit 8, the progress that we're making on Exit 8. So I just want to give the board notice that sometime in January, the middle of January, we will be having a meeting. Erica will be contacting the committee chairs to ask what possible date, but I've got 3 dates from the staff that they're available. So, Mayor, I just wanted to let the board know that that's coming in January, and we'll make it available so the whole board can come and hear and ask questions about projects that we've got going on. Thank you.
Chairman Robertson, thank you. Our COO's report, Jesse Eckenroth.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say congratulations, Judge Edwards. It's been a pleasure to serve under you, but I know the city will be the beneficiary of your role as the city judge, so thank you. And a thank you to Jason Gallo and his team for getting the job posting put up and turned around so quickly, and Alderman Sittler for advising us on some key places to post that job. We got a good applicant pool for that, so thank you guys for your work on that. Maybe the biggest surprise tonight is when I was making my report for this evening, I asked Andy Gilly what's going on in the parks this weekend, and he said nothing. And I think that's the first time I've been here in a year and a half where we don't have some type of planned event in the park, but Andy does a tremendous job. Thank you for all your help on the golf course committee and everything that you do for the Parks Department. I wanted to touch on pothole repairs. The Tennessean had an article that came out this week. Many of you have seen it, how they're preparing for potholes. Jason, if you could go ahead and put the slide up. At the city here, we have a three-pronged approach. This is a new piece of equipment that we recently just purchased, and this allows us to go out with hot mix asphalt, which is more of a permanent patching material rather than a cold mix. So our crews will be able to go out and operate this machine and start filling in potholes in a more permanent fashion. So we'll be seeing this out on the streets. We also have a product we call cold patch. It's not hot. It's a very quick way we can go out and do potholes, but it's not a permanent fix like this is. That's good, Jason. You can pull that off. In the meantime, though, if you could, and I didn't ask you, if you could pull up the city website. So those are kind of two-pronged approaches. One is we can use that hot box, another is cold patch, and the third one that we use is we have a contractor who's got a hot mix machine, and he goes out and does rather large patches. So he'll mill out a section of the street, and then he'll patch that in. We've hit several areas throughout the city already this year. We put in $135,000 in the budget at the beginning of the year for pothole repairs. We're more than halfway through that. We have a list to extinguish the rest of the funds that are in that balance, and we're just waiting on the contractor to come out to the city to fix those. So between those three areas, that's kind of how we approach it. But I want to let you know on the website where you can go to if you want to report a pothole. So up in the top right-hand corner, it says, I want to. And then report a problem is on the left column, right there. If you click on that, you can put your name, your phone number, and your email. And then I think maybe the fourth or fifth bullet down is pothole, report pothole right there. You can click on that. You can give a description of where it's at. Then you have to click on the bottom that you're not a robot. That automatically goes to our Public Works Department. And a lot of times they will be out within the week, sometimes the next day to fix potholes. So if you're out and about and you see one, or if people want to know where they can go on the city website, that's the location to go to, and you can report potholes. So between the three kind of approaches we have, we've really been trying to stay on top of potholes. But the most important thing we can do to fix potholes is to pave our streets. With new streets, you don't have the recurring issues of potholes. Thankfully, we've really been able to boost our street paving. So we're not seeing as many potholes as we have in years past, but we're continuing to be diligent with potholes. Two other things we have this week. Our Assistant Finance Director, Tamara Ingersoll, has started, so she's a welcome addition to the team. That position has been vacant for about 6 months, so she comes with a wealth of experience. Really excited to have her on board. And then we will also be presenting the annual comprehensive financial report to the board soon, so Finance Committee, that'll be coming your way. The finance team is wrapping that up right now. I think we're going to have some pretty good news with our annual financial report, and that'll be coming to you shortly. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Jesse, thank you and Public Works for addressing potholes and fixing those so quickly. We appreciate that. And also, Mayor, would you please tell that anonymous donor how much we appreciate his gift? The city is grateful for that. His generosity or her generosity is incredible, and we definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Eckenroth, about a month ago, I talked to you about complaints that I've been receiving on construction blasting. That's where they're building a new development or something and they blast the rock and it jars houses around it. And I know that the staff has worked hard. Would you give a report on what we have been able to do to help citizens navigate those complaints?
Yeah, about, I think, a week or two ago, we just put a kind of a fact sheet together on blasting. The state regulates blasting, but our fire department's here to help. The state sets the guidelines, but we put together an informational sheet that gives the contact info. So if there's blasting around your house, you have a question, a complaint, we give all the information who you can contact. That's on the city website. And we have a flyer. So what I'll do is I'll send a link to everyone. But if you go under the fire department tab, you can get to a sheet that has information on blasting, and it has the contact info for our local fire department and for the state fires marshal office who regulates all the blasting in the city. And I'll send everyone a link to that information sheet.
Alderman Robertson, anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Jesse, thank you. Alderman Edwards.
I'd like to make my favorite motion of all time. That's the motion to adjourn.
We have a motion from Alderman Edwards and a second from Alderman Garza. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, say no.